guys, well, today I'm going to be talking about different ways you can reset your vagus nerve if you're experiencing the fight or flight response, or if you're in the freeze dissociation response. This is actually my first video on trauma on this channel, and I'm so excited to talk about trauma. When I was starting this video, I was like, I don't know what to choose to talk about. I have so many topics, so I just decided to start with this because I feel like it's going to be kind of linear and coherent, whereas some of my other videos might be a little bit more rambly and more of a do you guys also experience this, just to help other people feel less alone. I've realized it's so important to talk about our inner thoughts and our overthinking thoughts and all these things, just to show that we're all human. And I found when other people share their overthinking thoughts and their thought patterns, it makes me feel less alone, because so many times I've thought I was absolutely crazy for having certain thoughts, and then I realized I'm just a human being, other people have this too. Okay, so my first one for calming down from a fight, flight, freeze, fawn response is to do humming. So humming actually activates the vagus nerve, which then kind of activates the parasympathetic nervous system and helps you to calm down. So I don't know if you've ever done humming in yoga before. I have a little bit, but literally just humming, hum. I kid you not, do this for a few minutes and hum on the exhale, and it just feels so calming. Just let yourself hum for a while. And along from that is actually singing. So singing, just like humming, activates the vocal cords, again helps the parasympathetic nervous system. So singing along to your favorite song every day, I've actually been doing that every day, and I feel like it makes a big difference. And another thing I like to do is before and after each of these exercises, I kind of take note of what my mood's like. So if I'm feeling on edge, a 7 out of 10 on edge, and then I hum for 2 minutes, and I'll be okay, now I feel 6 out of 10 on edge. It's going down a bit, it's feeling a bit better. Okay, the next one I love, it's called bilateral stimulation. So if you haven't done EMDR before, you might not have heard of this. So bilateral stimulation is literally as it sounds. It's bilateral, both sides, stimulation. So I love to do the hug version like this, or you can do the butterfly version like this. So you just interlace your thumbs and you just go like this at a steady rate, and you just breathe in and out calmly. So this basically I'm very bad at explaining things. It calms the nervous system, it helps calm the nervous system down. So any form of bilateral stimulation will help calm you down. And if you've done EMDR before, then you know about the back and forth eye movement, and that also kind of integrates the right and left hemisphere of the brain and helps you to calm down. So yeah, do that for 2 minutes when you're feeling activated, when you're feeling overwhelmed, and it'll help you kind of come back into the present. Because I don't know if you guys found, when you're freaking out, if you really take a moment to think about it, which is hard to do when you're in the moment, when you're in the middle of a freak out or an emotional flashback, it is so hard to catch yourself and be where is my brain right now? Because most of the time I found when I am freaking out, my brain has traveled 1,000,000 miles into the future and simultaneously 1,000,000 miles into the past, and I'm activated thinking about those two things, and it's causing me so much anxiety. And sometimes just doing something like this will bring me from the future and past back to the present. And in that moment I'll be wait a minute, I'm in the present, I'm safe. And I'll look around me and I'll do this thing, it's called orienting, where you look around yourself. When you look around yourself, it helps calm your nervous system, remind you that you're safe. And I'll be wait a minute, my physical health is actually pretty good. There's nothing major to complain about. I have a little bit of back pain, but there's nothing urgent. I have a room, I have a roof over my head, I have friends that love me and I love them. Nothing tragic's happening in my life. And I'll be oh, I'm safe. And then it kind of just brings you back into the present. So I don't know if that helps you guys, that really helps me. And sometimes it's just a really weird feeling when you come back into the present and you're oh, life's actually fine. I don't need to be worrying about doing this and that and this and that. But yeah, anyway, that was a really random side note, but I hope it helped. Okay, the next one is EFT tapping. I highly recommend Googling this. So I read some research studies, and the research is showing this to be helpful. I don't think they actually know how it works exactly, but it does work on the acupuncture meridian pressure points. So I'll do a quick one now, but I'll probably upload a video in the future doing a follow along tap with me. So all you do is you tap on, I forget how many points there are, but you tap here. It's called the karate chop point. Tap here, sides of the eyes, temples, and under the eyes, above the lip, the chin, collarbone, under the arm, and top of the head. And as you tap each of these points, you tell yourself an affirmation. Now, personally, I'm not a big fan of positive affirmations because sometimes they just feel fake. So something you can do, instead of saying, I love myself or I'm proud of myself, because I just struggle with that, what you can say is, I'm open to the possibility that I love myself and that I'm proud of myself. Other ones that I quite like doing is, I let go of this feeling of anxiety and I'm open to the possibility that I feel calm and happy. So I think it's called affirmations instead of affirmations, so it doesn't feel as fake doing it like that. I'll actually link a TikTok below on affirmations. It's a really great TikTok. Yeah, so that's EFT tapping. Okay, the next one is super quick, and it's to just give yourself a hug. So this is calming for the nervous system, and also if you want, you could just give a teddy bear a hug or something. This is why I'm a child and I have teddies, because I hug them at night, and it feels so good. It just feels so good. But if you're like in public or whatever and don't have a teddy with you, it doesn't look that weird. Just put your right hand over your heart area. And fun fact, just putting your hand over your heart can help calm you down. Hand over your heart and then other hand across, and just give yourself a really good hug. Give yourself a squeeze. It feels so good. Okay, the next one kind of seems simple, and it's just breathing. So taking deep belly breaths. Now, I know a lot of psychologists, therapists, people out there all say to do breathing, but I'm actually not a fan of breathing. And if you have trauma, you might not be. A lot of us aren't, because I don't know, sometimes focusing on my breath makes me more anxious, or I just feel like I can't breathe properly and then I get more anxious, when it's actually better sometimes just to notice, okay, I'm struggling to breathe. I'm not going to judge it, I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to notice that, like, holding my breath a bit, I'm holding some tension. But breathing can be really helpful, so I recommend giving it a try, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. The only breathing I do really like is the alternate nostril breathing, where it's like... So I recommend looking up alternate nostril breathing on YouTube. I first found it when I was watching Yoga with Adrienne. She had a video on that and it was really, really great. So that's really the only breathing I like. Just not a fan of breathing. I almost find it triggering. So yeah, gonna, take it or leave it. With all these things, like, whatever works for you. Don't force yourself to do these things. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, ditch it. Okay, this next one I recently got into. Oh, I'm loving it so much, and it is expressive art and expressive dance movement. I'm kind of going to group them together because it's all about expression and like releasing your emotions and being your true authentic self, and it just calms the nervous system and it makes me feel so good. So recently I've been doing a piece of artwork every day with no judgment. Wait, where is my little sketchbook? I will show you guys, because no judgment. It feels so good just to like let whatever's in you out. So don't have to make it look pretty, you don't have to do anything, you just have to like notice what you're doing. So I'll notice which colors I've chosen that day. I'll notice if it looks angry, if it looks sad, if it looks joyful, if I look excited. You can see from your art what your emotions are, and I think that's so beautiful. And I found since doing that, I've kind of been more in tune with my emotions and my body, and it just feels really great. And then along with that, I sometimes like to just dance around to random music. And sometimes I don't even have to dance, I'll kind of just do arm movements in bed. Okay, that sounds really weird. I don't know if anyone else does this. I know one of my friends does it, and when I found out she did it too, I was like, I'm not alone. Anyway, so basically I'll just put on any song that I feel like listening to, and I'll let my arms and hands do whatever they need to do, and it feels so good. Like, let me give an example. Wait, this is gonna get copyrighted if I do this right now, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I feel like it. We're just gonna put on Taylor Swift because I like Taylor Swift. Okay, I'm about to be vulnerable and embarrassing, so here we go. Champagne Problems. Okay, so that got really weird, and I got the shivers because I don't know what it is, but when I let my body release the way it needs to certain music, I get the shivers. So yeah, it's a really great exercise for getting in tune with your body. First of all, you're choosing a song based on how your body feels. So I'll look through my music and be like, what do I feel like listening to, And then I'll just let my body do what it needs to do, and it feels amazing, and I feel like I can breathe again. And I get that same feeling when I do my art, and I was gonna look for my journal so I can show you guys my weird art. Yeah, the next little tip I have is kind of random as well, is just massaging different points on your ear. And you can actually look up different points to massage on your ear, because we have like different nerves running around, especially on our face. We have a lot of nerves running around on our face and the back of our neck and head and everything. So just massaging your ear, like sometimes I'll just do this. I'll just kind of go down my ear can be really, really calming. And there's a type of therapy called Emmett, which actually does this too. I'll link it down below. Emmett's really interesting. I like the idea of it. So yeah, just massaging around your ear. Honestly, whatever feels good. Sometimes I'll just like massage my head because it feels good and it just stimulates all the nerves in that area and calms you down. So yeah, quick little tip. The next one is when you're feeling stressed and whatever, just going out in nature and like literally touching a leaf or just touching nature. Okay, that sounded really weird, but that has been shown to like decrease stress levels, calm our nervous system and everything, and also walking around barefoot. So anything kind of with nature, even if it's just 10 minutes a day getting outside, I try my best to do it. Sometimes I forget. It's on my habit list, so I try not to forget it, but yeah, just a little bit of nature every day. Okay, this next one I don't personally do because I just don't like it, but a lot of people swear by it, and it's ice cold water. So when you're feeling overwhelmed or dissociated in the freeze response or fight or flight, whatever it may be, a lot of people like to take an ice cold shower, or they'll just like run ice cold water onto their wrists or put like an ice pack on the back of their neck. That also activates the vagus nerve really well. I'm just someone who gets cold really easily, and I find that like even though it gives a shock to my system and helps wake me up and get me out of that dissociated mode, I just don't like the feeling of it personally. It's not my favorite thing, but it works for a lot of people, so I recommend trying it out. Like, give it a shot. Try the ice or very cold ice water when you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed, and see if it works for you. Okay, so those are all of the trauma tips I can think of as of right now. If you guys would like a part 2, let me know, because I'm sure I have way more random things that I do daily and like random trauma tips for calming down. I'd love to do a coping skills video, like, you know, the kind of coping skills to do when you're overwhelmed, like name 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, like those kind of coping mechanisms. I wouldn't mind doing that as well, and like journaling, that kind of thing. So I might make a separate video on that. Let me know if you'd like to see that. So yeah, drop any questions you might have about trauma, and check out loveluna.org for free trauma resources. I'm also going to be uploading ADHD resources on there, which I'm really excited about. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's anything in specific you'd like to see from me, let me know, because I just want to make mental health as accessible to everyone that I possibly can, and I want to share my journey just to anyone out there who might be feeling alone, just to feel a little bit less alone, because I really wish I'd found something like this when I was on my journey. And I also want to put out there that like I'm not perfect or perfectly healed or whatnot. I'm still going through the process, but I feel like I have gone through that, like, I don't want to say spiritual awakening, but that awakening process where like something clicked in my head and I'm feeling a lot better. Because I found when I was in the thick of it, I used to look up to people who looked like they had it all together and they looked like they were perfect, and I used to think, how do I get to that point? It wasn't about getting to that point, it was honestly the journey, as cheesy as it sounds. So if you're watching me thinking, I look put together, how do I get there? Just know it's the journey, and like, if you're in the thick of it right now, I'm so sorry. I know how terrible it feels, I know, but just know there's hope, and allow yourself to experience the sadness, to experience the anger, to experience the joy in life as well. And if you need any help, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to chat to you. And yeah, bye guys.